Please listen to the rules and procedures that will follow for tonight's meeting.
Good evening, and welcome to tonight's meeting of the Town of Babylon Zoning Board of Appeals. The following is the procedure that will be followed tonight. The matters will be called in the order they appear on the calendar, with adjourned matters being called at the end of the regularly scheduled matters. Matters cannot be heard prior to their published scheduled time. When your matter is called, please submit the affidavit of posting to the secretary and proceed to the podium and give your name and address. The chairperson will then swear you in and read into the record information we have from your application, comments from various town departments, and any correspondence received on your application. The chairperson will then ask you to make whatever presentation you wish to make to the board. After you have made your presentation, the board will ask whatever questions the board deems appropriate, and then we will ask for comments from the public. If you wish to speak for or against an application, we ask that you wait until you're acknowledged. Come forward, give us your name and address, tell us where your property is in relation to the property that's in question tonight, and then please direct your comments to the board, not the applicant or the applicant's representative. We have to keep a record, and we cannot do that if there are people talking over each other or cross conversations. If someone has spoken for or against an application, and they have said exactly the same thing that you wish to say, it will have the same force and effect in the record if you give your name and address, are sworn in, and say that you join in those comments. If you have anything additional to say, please don't hesitate to do so, but keep in mind that you will be given only one opportunity to speak. After the public has spoken, the board may ask the applicant to come back to answer any questions that may have come up as a result of the public comments, or for the applicant to summarize. When the applicant comes back to answer any additional questions, if that happens, that does not start a second round of public comments. Once the matter has been heard, various things may occur. The board may decide the application immediately. It may reserve decision. If the board reserves decision, that does not mean the matter is approved or denied. It just means that the board needs more time to decide, may want to go out and look at the site again, or might want to review the documents and testimony further before making a decision. In either event, the applicant will receive the board's decision in writing shortly after the board makes its decision. If the application is approved, that does not mean that you can then go ahead and start construction or whatever it is that you requested from the board. You will have to wait for the building permit to be obtained from the building department before your go-ahead. On some occasions, the matter may be continued for another night. If it is continued, in most cases, it will be for the submission of documents, a new survey, new plans, or something of that nature. If that's the case, no one needs to come back on the new date. The documents will be submitted and no further testimony will be taken. On rare occasions, a matter may be continued for future testimony. If that's the case, then people would have to come back to testify. If matters are adjourned at an open meeting on the scheduled date of hearing, no further notice need be given unless specifically required by the board on the date the adjournment is granted. 3 rules that may affect your ability to proceed tonight. 1. If the sign was not posted for 10 days, we cannot hold the hearing tonight. 2. If you commence this proceeding while you own the property, but no longer own the property, and you are here now to continue with the application, you will need either the written consent of the new owner or the new owner to be present for the hearing. This situation could come about if you sold your house or building, money was held in escrow at closing for a certificate of occupancy or permit, and you're here tonight to clear that up. Lastly, if your application is a commercial application and it's other than a renewal, and there is more than one tenant in the building, then you need your landlord to be here. Is there any applicant that has any difficulty with those situations and would need an adjournment tonight?
Is there anyone that would need an adjournment? Please rise and join the board in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, before we begin tonight, there is one adjournment on our calendar. There's application 26-6, Roberts Plywood, property is located in Deer Park. Is there anyone here on that application? It's being adjourned to April 30th, next week. Okay, first application tonight is application 26-53 of Yvonne Flemings, property located in North Babylon.
Hi, good evening. Thank you for your time tonight.
Name and address for the record, please.
49 Embargo Place, North Babylon.
No, I need your name and address.
Oh, sorry. Alan Johnson, 357 East Shore Drive, Massapequa, New York.
Okay, and you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Okay. For the record, Planning Division memo dated April 15th, 2026. Environmental Control memo dated April 22nd, 2026. If approved, this application will not result in significant impact. Suffolk County Planning memo dated April 23rd, 2026. Decision of local determination. Take no position for or against. We have survey by Scalise Land Surveying dated September 20th, 2025. Plans by AGT Architectural dated August 22nd, 2025. 6 photographs, and we have the affidavit of posting. Okay, would you like to tell us about the application?
Okay, so we were asking to the board to grant a zoning exception due to the fact that this is already an existing house and it was granted in 2006. We are asking, in addition to what was granted in 2006 for a front porch, which would be only 1.5 feet approximately, projecting further out than the houses to the both sides, which I have photos if you'd like to see it. And we are agreeable to reducing the lot coverage with the pavers and moving the pool to conform to standard setbacks.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
How are you?
Hi.
So are we going straight up from what it was? Or is
It's the same. It's the same footprint on both floors, exterior.
All right, so then for housekeeping purposes, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that variance number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 are existing conditions.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
The only change is the porch is going to be bigger.
Oh. Now you tell me. All right, I just got to ask, what happened?
I'm not sure because, I got involved later on, but I think that there's an electrical box on the front of the house, which I believe was for the solar panels, and that went on fire. And then it lit up the whole roof, and basically, just shot through the house.
Okay, so you agreed to put the pool in a conforming location and cut back the pavers
Yes,
2 feet in each direction?
yes.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board?
Okay, so then we can clear the record, so we can delete variance number 6. And are you agreeing to conform to the lot building area of 30% or the 50% recommended?
50% recommended.
So variance number 6 can be deleted. Number 7, I guess, could be 30 to 50%, and then I would put conditions for the cutback and 50% lot coverage.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to delete variance number 6 and to amend number 7 to increase total bearing area from 30% to 50%. You get back to us with a number on that, whatever it is, 50%.
Yeah, so I'll have to modify the plot plan to conform.
Yeah, we're gonna need the square footage there, so.
And you agreed to put the pool in a conforming location and cut the setbacks of 2 feet off all property lines.
Cut,
Pavers.
excuse me, I'm not
You
sure.
agreed to cut the pavers back 2 feet?
Yes, yes.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion to approve application. Were they,
Yeah, go ahead.
26-53, as amended with the recommended,
Well, pool to be relocated to conforming location,
yeah,
accessory structure, pavers be cut back 2 feet, and lot coverage to be not exceed 50%.
as per the planning memo.
Second.
Yes, agreed,
All in
correct.
favor? Okay. You just got to get back to us with the lot coverage.
Okay.
Okay?
Is anyone here to speak on it? Is anyone here to speak on it?
Oh, yeah. Would anyone like to be heard on this application? Okay, good thing. For the record, there are none.
Christine.
Christine?
All right.
All right, well, thank you very again for your time tonight.
Got that, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Next application is application 2650 of Cherokee Realty Corp., property located in Lindenhurst.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board.
Need your name and address for the record,
J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Charig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530.
Okay. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 15th, 2026, environmental control memo dated April 22nd, 2026. If we were to approve this application, it would need a negative declaration. What else we have here? We have a fire marshal's report dated April 18th, 2026. Has no objections to the applicant's following proposal for the special exception permit. We have a survey by Aguilara Surveying dated August 19th, 2024. Plans by IMEG dated 11/2024. 4 photographs, and we have the affidavit of posting. What would you like to tell us about the application?
Okay, so first, my client is the contract vendee. He does not yet occupy the property. The subject property is 1.3 acres and has frontage along 3 streets. It's Zone G Industry and is situated within an established industrial pocket just north of Railroad Avenue and just west of Great East Neck Road. As you can see from the survey, the property is currently improved with a 2,400 square foot, 1-story building and 2 open-air structures, each approximately 1,900 square feet. In November of 2025, the town board, acting on their own motion, included the subject property within the RMM Area 3 Overlay District for transfer stations, reflecting a legislative determination that the subject property is appropriate for the proposed transfer station. The existing 10.83-foot side yard is for the open-air structure all the way to the east of the property, and it's entirely consistent with the character of the neighborhood. If you look at the aerial and on the survey, you can also see that the building on the adjacent property to the north maintains basically the exact same rear yard setback. As far as the outdoor storage in the front yard, that's really a product of the unique characteristics of this property. As I said, it has frontage on 3 streets, making it nearly impossible to have outdoor storage in a conforming location. And again, looking at the aerial, outdoor storage in non-conforming front yards seems to be commonplace for the neighborhood. The last variance necessary is to leave 3 buildings on the site, but I would argue that there's really just one principal building on the parcel, and the other 2, what we call buildings, are open-air structures. Does the board have pictures of those, or? I do have.
Oh, yeah, we do.
Oh, yeah, you have, yeah, that's
We
right
have,
there. Yep. So you can see they're really open-air structures. But, regardless, they've been there for decades. They're consistent with the character of the surrounding neighborhood, and they're really not causing a detriment to any nearby properties. As part of the proposal, we are going to reduce the size of those structures so that we comply with the front yard and the rear yard for the northernmost structure. It's just the rear yard of the structure all the way to the west that we need or the side yard that we previously discussed. And then we're also seeking a special exception from the board. We had addressed each of the criteria in a letter submitted to the Planning Department dated December 9th, 2025. But very briefly, I'll just note that we do comply with all of the criteria, including lot size, on-site layout and circulation, as well as off-street parking. So I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, thank you. Turn the hearing over to Mr. Rigney.
Good evening, how are you?
Good evening.
How are you? Is this new ownership? Did I hear that in your presentation? New
Yeah,
ownership here?
we're the contract vendees of the property.
So, what actually takes place on this site now?
Now, I believe it's a junkyard, but that's not what that's not what we're proposing.
So did you purchase the property with everything that's on it currently? Because there's a bunch of,
No, right now, we're just in contract. We have not purchased. Our contract to purchase is contingent upon getting the zoning board approvals and other approvals necessary to operate a transfer station.
now is this application in front of planning board as we speak also?
We had on March 16th, I believe, we had a site plan we had our site plan heard before the planning board. Seemed to go very well. They requested that we provide a SWIP, which we have done, and it's been approved by the Department of Environmental Control.
Anything decision-wise made here tonight, will that affect the planning board in any way?
I don't think so, no.
Variances that you're here on tonight?
No.
No? Okay. Another question. The three buildings, is there any way that any of those could be moved or like you said, downsized to be in a conforming location on the property?
So the first structure, all the way to the west of the property, we are reducing the front of it so that we're meeting the 40-yard front yard setback.
Right.
There is the 10.8 side yard setback, but as I noted, the property immediately north has a building that also seems to be 10 foot set off the side yard. And as far as the other open air structure, we're reducing that one too, right? We're also reducing that one coming off the rear property line, so that's in a conforming location. But if we were to relocate it anywhere on the property, it's such a small property that it would screw up the site circulation.
Can you just give me the reason for all three buildings, what they're used for?
Well, the main building is going to be office space, and the other two sort of open air structures, we're just going to store roll-off containers, maybe other materials in bins, all in bins.
Did you happen to read the planning memo and the conditions that go with this application tonight?
Yes.
Would you agree to all of the conditions?
Yes.
I'm going to read them into the record anyway. Outdoor storage shall be limited to the areas as designated on the approved plans. The height of any stacked or stored materials or piles are not to exceed 15 feet in height. The subject premise shall not be used for a motor vehicle dismantling business as defined in Town Code Section 2213-435. You agree to those conditions?
We do.
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I got no further questions.
Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none.
Can we just clarify the applicant and amend the call then? You said we had it advertised as Cherokee Realty Corp., that's the property owner?
That's the property owner, yes.
So who is the applicant applying for the special exception?
NJC Scrap Metal Recycling of Lindenhurst.
So that should be amended, so we include that in the decision.
You want to clean that up right now, Mickey?
Yeah, amend it now before we go.
NJC. Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion to amend the application to NJC Scrap Metal, not Cherokee Realty Corp.
So that would be the applicant, and then Cherokee Realty would be the property owner.
Right. As amended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Needs a neg deck, Mick.
Did I ask?
You didn't ask, no?
Okay. Make it, yeah, make it.
Want to hold it or you?
Well, yeah, all right, we'll hold it. Okay, we're going to close the hearing, we're going to reserve decision, and you'll get the decision in the mail.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Next application or applications, we're going to be hearing these together. Oh, you do, okay. I'm like- So we are going to hear the two applications together?
Yeah, I'd prefer that, sure.
Okay. Name and address for the record again, please.
It's J.R. DeCiccio with the law firm of Greenberg Chorig, 900 Stewart Avenue, Garden City, New York, 11530.
For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 15th, 2026, on an application 2651. On that same application, we have environmental control memo dated April 23rd, 2026. We also have a fire marshal's report dated April 21st, 2026. This appears to be a vacant lot at this time. Suffolk County Planning dated April 23rd, 2026. Decision of local determination. Take no position for or against. On application 26-52, we have a planning division memo dated April 15th, 2026. What else do we have? Also, environmental control memo dated April 22nd, 2026. That's the same memo from the previous application. Fire marshal's report dated April 3rd, 2026. Again, this appears to be an empty lot. Suffolk County Planning, April 23rd, 2026. Decision of local determination. Would you like to tell us about the applications?
All right, so the subject property consists, we're gonna do both of them together, right?
Yes.
Okay, so the subject property consists of 8 tax lots, all of which are situated within the T3 zoning transect, which specifically allows for this type of duplex development. The proposal consists of 64 1- and 2-bedroom rental units housed within 31 duplexes and 2 single units. 14 of those will be designated as affordable. These units are designed to live and feel like single-family homes with bedrooms on the top floor, living space below, and storage in the basement and garage. This type of product doesn't currently exist in the market and will enhance the housing options available in Wyandanch. Before the board are modest variances. The first is for a requested FAR variance for each property. We are just 0.4% above the permitted maximum. Now, this overage is attributable in a large part due to the applicant's decision to dedicate property to the town of Babylon. So on the smaller property, which is all the way to the east, we are dedicating 650 square feet to the town. So it's right on the north there. And then on the larger property, we are dedicating approximately 2,100 square feet to the town. That, together with the fact that when developing these plans, we met with the planning department, it was suggested that we lengthen each unit by 2 feet so that a car can pull into the garage. And those two facts really make up the 0.4% FAR variance. But the proposal, other than that, the proposal does satisfy all parking, landscaping, and other dimensional requirements of the code. So while it's slightly over the permitted FAR, the property is functionally and physically capable of supporting the proposed development. The frontage occupancy, the request again is driven by the dimensions of the site and the configuration of the site. On the smaller parcel, where we have a narrow but very deep site, we only have 86 feet of frontage, and 30 of that feet is taken up by the curb cut onto Patton Avenue. So we really don't have much frontage to work with. And there'd really be no feasible alternatives that would allow the applicant to achieve the required frontage occupancy without seriously compromising the site circulation. And similar on the larger parcel, it's a corner parcel. It has frontage on Straight Path and Patton Avenue. And if we were to reconfigure the building so that they had the maximum frontage, we really wouldn't have the necessary site circulation to make this proposal function properly. The last variance is public frontage. It's also insignificant, and on the smaller parcel, we actually, in my opinion, we exceed the requirements of the code, which requires a 5-foot sidewalk and a 5-foot verge for street trees. So we're providing a wider 7-foot sidewalk, and we have a substantial 16-foot strip of landscaping. The only difference is it's confined within our property lines. It's not in the public right-of-way. And similar on the larger parcel, we're providing a 7-foot sidewalk along Patton Avenue, and then a 5-foot sidewalk along Straight Path with significant landscaping on Patton Avenue, on Straight Path, and in the corner of Patton and Straight Path. So in short, the proposal will create a new high-quality housing product and improve the aesthetics of an underutilized property. So I'm happy to answer any questions the board may have.
Okay, thank you. So I think you've answered, well, will any of these variances requested change anything with the site plan?
What's that?
Would any of the variances that you're requesting change anything going forward with the site plan?
No, not if they're approved, no.
Okay. You've already talked about the reason for the 0.6 to 0.64. There's a number of conditions on both applications, and they're both the exact same. The first one is to merge the lots. The second one, 20% of the units, 3 shall be designated as workforce housing. Affordable housing units to be scattered equally throughout the site. Affordable workhouse units shall be targeted to qualified households making less than 80%. Okay. Attic space are limited to utilities and mechanical space only, no habitable space provided. And they are the exact same on the other application, 26-52. Would you agree to all of those conditions?
Yep, I think just the number of affordable units is probably different on each, but otherwise the same.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
One's 3, one's 11.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions from the board? Would anyone like to be heard on this application?
Good evening.
Name and address for the record, please.
Cheryl Smith, 19 Patton Avenue in Wyandanch.
Okay, and you affirm to tell the truth?
Yes.
Would you like to tell us?
I just have questions. This is a 3-way intersection where they are proposing to add this complex. There are 2 bus stops in that intersection. Where is the entrance to this complex supposed to be?
Okay. Well, he'll come back. He can show you that. When we get, that's your question. We'll get you
Okay,
the
that's
answer.
just one of my questions.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. Whatever else.
I'm sorry?
Anything else you want to ask is fine. Go ahead.
Okay, this is also directly across the street from another duplex complex that's being added right now, 14 residences. How is the town, have they done a traffic study at this area? Because at Patton Avenue and Straight Path, the west end of Patton Avenue has an industrial park already where we're getting the traffic, the commercial and non-commercial traffic. All of the employees run through Patton Avenue. I'm sure that this is not going to matter. We came here 3 years ago about this 14 complex and heard nothing back. But in any case, has the town looked at the fact that this enters onto 2 busy, very busy streets? Is there any consideration for the residents? I've lived on Patton Avenue better part of 30 years, and the traffic is just so increased now. There's nowhere to park. I have the only curb on Patton Avenue. When I moved in 30-some-odd years ago, we were promised the street would be widened and curbs would be added and sidewalks. So I'm just asking, has the town considered those of us that live in this area already?
We're going to find out if a traffic study was done. Did we do anything in-house? Yeah, we'll ask the applicant on the traffic study.
Okay,
All right?
those are my
Anything else?
questions.
Okay. Would anyone else like to be heard on this application? For the record, there are none? Okay.
All right, so can I put this?
Yeah, I mean,
board?
you can talk to the
So-
homeowner there.
Okay, so the access points are, there's going to be 2 on Patton Avenue, 1 right here.
Which is next to number 22, I guess. That's the house that's next to where you're pointing.
What's your last name?
My address is 19.
Okay, hold on. We can't do this like this.
Okay. All right, so let me just point out
At
the
the end of
access
the
points.
hearing, you'll talk to the homeowner, okay, and explain that whole thing to her, all
Sure.
right? Okay, but I do need you to answer about the traffic study.
Yeah, a traffic study was submitted as part of the planning board submission.
To the planning board?
Yes.
Okay, so a traffic study was done. Okay.
And we are putting, we are widening the road, Patton Avenue, and we are putting sidewalks from, the edge of our property to Straight Path. And then, down Straight Path,
Okay,
around the perimeter of our property.
okay. Any other question? All right, we're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We'll keep we have it for everything, okay? You'll get the decision in the mail. Thanks for coming down. Please talk to each other, when you
Sure.
go out and just explain to
Sure.
her everything, please. Thank you.
Thank you.
Next application is application 2654 of Winters, 19 Nancy LLC, property located in West Bath.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. John Anzalone from Harris Beach, Merthyr, 333 Earl Ovington Boulevard, Suite 901, Uniondale, New York, 11553 for the applicant.
Okay, thank you. For the record, we have a planning division memo dated April 15th, 2026. A environmental control memo dated April 22nd, 2026. If approved, this would need a negative declaration. Which starts that. Hold on. Paperwork, yeah. Let's see, a survey by John Robinson dated September 5th, 2003. Plans by Kempe Land Surveying dated 3/26/2026. 8 photographs and an affidavit of posting. Okay, would you like to tell us?
Chairman, for the record, we have the fire marshal.
Oh, we have the
report
fire
from
marshal.
April 16th, 2026.
Yep.
With comment.
Sure.
What would you like to tell us about the application?
Sure. So before I proceed with presenting the case, I just want to submit a few exhibits into the record, just so that they're on file.
Can you upload them to the portal, Jeff? Thank you.
The exhibit packages that I submitted, which are all identical, they include the DEC permit for the project, which is for the transfer station, which is approved to operate to November 13th of 2030. A series of 7 photographs showing the existing and historic conditions since 2007, an odor control plan on file with the planning department, certain materials concerning how odor control technology works at the property, a letter concerning the fire prevention and odor control measures incorporated into the building, prepared by the project engineers, Kempe Engineering, who prepared the plans before the board this evening, as well as those approved by the DEC. A description of the operations prepared by the project engineers, and noise specifications for the point of sound generator outside of the building, which are fans. To put the project location in context, the property was previously approved at the transfer station in 2002 and expanded in around 2008. The transfer station operated pursuant to several variances and special exceptions issued by this board until its destruction in April of 2024. The property is within the large industrial park that is generally situated between Little East Neck Road to the east, Edison Avenue to the south, Patton Avenue, and Beth Moses Cemetery to the north, and the town landfill and Jersey Street to the west. More specifically, this property is the second property north of Edison Avenue along both Otis and Nancy Street. As included in the submission of the application, the previous approvals for the site for transfer station dating back to 2002. The board last approved an extension in 2023, which approved the use remaining at the property until October 26th of 2028. The rebuilt facility is necessary to process existing waste volumes generated on Long Island. Before its loss, the facility processed waste from municipal, institutional, residential, and commercial customers. The site did not and will not accept construction and demolition waste. As can be seen in the site photographs submitted with the application and the aerial of the concurrent conditions submitted this evening, the 10-inch slab foundation for the former building remains. This was kept to expedite the construction of the new building at the site by reutilizing the foundation to allow the facility to resume operations as soon as possible. This is also why much of the same variance relief that was historically granted by this board is being sought again today. Concerning the criteria for the special exception, I note that this area has been mapped for this type of use. The project setting is fully industrial. There are no wetlands near the project. Given the solely industrial setting of the property, the station is ideally situated from a land use perspective. The applicant will retain the existing 2.5-inch water service connection, and the pressure has been tested and confirmed to be sufficient for fire suppression. The site will have a county-approved sanitary system installed. As this is a transfer facility, there is no need for a dumpster. The outdoor lighting is designed to comply with the town's lighting ordinance, and no variances that are requested. Daily maintenance at the site includes daily sweeping of both the facility and the surrounding streets. Landscaping is maintained on a weekly basis. The applicant is requesting the same hours that are included in the DEC permit, namely 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. on Monday through Saturday. As required by the DEC, there is no activity associated with the transfer station that occurs outside the building except for the weighing of trucks. The building will be constructed in accordance with the state and building and fire codes and operate in accordance with all restrictions of the DEC. This includes limitation of the station's throughput to an average of 600 tons per day. Operational requirements include the control of the type of waste accepted, required use of high-speed doors, which limit the time the facility is not self-contained, limits on how long waste can remain on site, and the prohibition of any storage of waste outside the building. In addition to the high-speed doors and the prohibition of outdoor storage and confinement of waste activities to the building, offensive odors are controlled by an odor misting system that automatically sprays an odor neutralizing agent over the waste within the building. Similarly, noise impacts are limited due to the balers being within the building. The greatest exterior sound generator are the upblast ventilation fans required by the DEC for all transfer stations. These are located on the roof at the abutting industrial lines. They do sound attenuation. They are compliant with the requirements of the code. Further, the nearest residence is more than 226 feet to the east on Peary Street. Other uses in the area are waste, manufacturing, other industrial and cemetery purposes, and the only other external noise sources are delivery trucks and transfer trucks, which are equipped with mufflers as required by vehicle regulations by the motor department, and these are obviously similar to other noises generated by trucks on the surrounding industrial roadways. In the past, this facility did not generate dust due to the nature of municipal solid waste and commingled recycling waste streams. and the fact that all work is performed indoors. No change is anticipated due to this application. However, if dust is encountered, it would be controlled by water spraying. As with previous applications, vectors are controlled through extermination when encountered. The parking will be provided in the same manner it historically was approved by at this facility by the board, and the property will retain its previously approved site circulation, continue to provide proper drainage, and new curbing will be installed. The applicant is proposing access to the site in the same manner that existed prior to the casualty event, which is described in the operational narrative filed with the board this evening. At this time, I'd like to turn the presentation over to Mr. Jay Kaplan, who is the Environmental and Construction Manager of Waste Management, who will briefly describe the operational need for the facility and the height variance.
Good, thank you. Name and address for the record, please.
Good evening, I'm Jay Kaplan with Waste Management. Address is 120 Nancy Street, West Babylon.
And do you affirm to tell the truth?
I do.
What would you like to tell us?
As described, it's a brand new facility. It's a state-of-the-art facility that we're going to be constructing. And as also described in detail, the fire suppression system is going to be a dry pipe system. The building is a freespan building. The height of the building is specifically designed to allow for full placement of that fire suppression system. The importance of this facility regionally is mainly it's an important part of the infrastructure for solid waste management for Suffolk County. Should there be another or any kind of natural disaster or an upset at any one of the waste energy facilities in the region or other traffic incident, this facility would be a very important part of that infrastructure, and it's also an integral part of our operations on Long Island.
Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you.
So just turning to the other variances besides the height, as I stated, almost all the relief presently before the board is identical to what was previously approved. Indeed, the lot coverage and front yard setback and number of building variances are identical to those previously approved. This ties back to my earlier statement that the project is reutilizing the footprint of the former transfer station. Indeed, there are no additional encroachments or square footage proposed. Concerning the small change in the side yard variance, this is a result of certain small discrepancy in the magnitude of a few inches in total that were discovered during the surveying process of the existing foundation. The as-built setback conditions of the former facility match that of proposed. Concerning the requested reapproval of the parking variance, then and now the size of the facility doesn't really have any relation to the number of stalls required. They do have only 6 employees at this facility at one time, so the 8 stalls are sufficient. Other than that, we respectfully request this board to grant the application. I would like to address the comments, particularly the fire marshal and the planning department, as I feel I must. The fire marshal comment it's not because there's anything at the site right now that caused it to be a violation. There's nothing on this, there's no fire conditions on the site. The situation is a paperwork issue. We were waiting on fire suppression plans to file with the fire marshal. Those were received this week, and they were filed on Tuesday. The fire marshal's comment was issued before that, and obviously the fire marshal needs to review those plans along with the fire access plan before he can issue, clear the application for approval. So that's where the fire marshal stands. With respect to the comments from the planning department that I saw, I think I addressed the first issue, which is the comments from the agencies. None of the comments from the agencies affect the variances before this board. Our conversations with the fire marshal indicate that they anticipate approving the plans we submitted, but need further time for review. We do not anticipate any changes resulting from the fire marshal's review that would affect the plans for this board or the planning board. Further, just to address a question I saw in the planning department recommendations, I saw that they were recommending it be approved for 3 years as opposed to the historic approvals for 5 years. We kind of understand that, but we would respectfully ask this board to not grant either one of them, but to actually grant it to November 13th of 2030, so that it would be coterminous with the DEC permit. The facility was not problematic in the past, and there's no change in the operations that will create new issues. Moreover, the town, like the DEC, has enforcement powers against the facility in the event that there was an issue. Concerning the other recommended conditions, lot merger was fine. Obviously, there's no outside storage, as I noted. We had a question regarding the rodent control within a 200-foot radius of the subject parcel. Now, the site historically did not have an issue with rodents and was not cited for the same despite numerous surprise inspections by the DEC. Under the plans filed with the DEC, the applicant is required to employ an exterminator whenever rodents are encountered. Moreover, the applicant doesn't control most of the land within 200 feet of this property. So we're not exactly sure how we can get other sites to do this sort of any rodent control without actually having approvals from those landowners. And then the applicant can certainly supplement what it does for the DEC by contracting with an exterminator to do monthly inspections and bait traps if that is something that the board would like. The only other question we had was regarding the street sweeper 4 times a day. The streets have been historically swept daily by hand broom throughout the entire operation of this facility. Again, we didn't have any citations when this property was operated in the past, so we don't exactly know why we need to do a street sweeper 4 times a day, because that, if you're doing that, you're basically tying up a vehicle almost the entire day and then employing an entire day just to go around doing street sweeping.
Are you asking for one?
Anything else? I'm sorry.
No, that's it.
Okay. I'll turn the hearing over to Mr. Shepherd.
How are you?
Good yourself, sir.
All right, thank you. You covered a lot of what I was concerned with. You said there was something about a mistake of a couple inches. Is everything you're asking for correct on this?
Yes, that mistake was from the prior applications. When they got granted originally, they built the project to what they measured out to be the setbacks. Instead of being 10-foot setback to like 9.9 setback when you actually measure it with modern surveying equipment.
So with the exception of number 3 and number 5, you agree to all the terms, conditions on the planning memo?
Yes.
All right, and I'll just, if I may, Mr. Chairman, just amend it that the rodent control be within the grounds of the property?
Did you agree to the language of the rodent control for the planning board condition? I think the language is slightly different.
Don't have that one in front of me. Yeah, I didn't do that hearing. That was covered by a different attorney. Their prior attorney became elected a judge, so that's how I ended up being here. But I haven't seen it, so I can't opine unless you have the language.
I haven't seen. No. I'll have to get it.
All right, and you'll agree to sweep the street once a day?
Yes, it's always required to do that, yes.
All right. You get back to her with the information we asked for, because we can't move this till we hear from the fire marshal.
Absolutely, absolutely.
I have no further questions, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions from the board?
Yeah, just one. What are the hours of operation at this site?
Per the DEC permit, there's 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. Monday through Saturday.
And that's what you're going to adhere to?
Yes, we can't operate outside those hours.
And I do want to note for the record, Mr. Chairman, that they do keep this site clean. I've often seen them sweeping by hand. There's a gentleman with a wheelbarrow and a garbage can always cleaning the site, so they always did keep it clean.
Can you repeat the DEC, the date you're requesting? What was it, November 2000?
Yeah, November 13th, 2030.
November.
You would ask for 4 years.
It's essentially 4 years, but yeah, we kind of ask it to be coterminous with that date.
But if we're recommending that this begins when you get a CO, how long are you anticipating the build to be?
So if we anticipate it would probably be at, assuming we got it in relatively short approval from the planning board, I would say would probably be in operation sometime in early January, best case scenario, because it's a pre-manufactured building, pre-engineered building, I should say. So that takes you out to, I think, January of 2030 from there. So that's why we're requesting November 13th of 2030.
So if that was the case, it looks like if we just did the approval from when the certificate of occupancy is issued, it would probably take you to that 2030 anyway?
I would say it would probably take you to the beginning of 2030 as opposed to when the...
End of 2030.
Yeah. So if it was approved for 4 years, the answer is yes, it would take you out to past that date and be coterminous.
Ask, would anyone like to be heard on this application? I think I asked that already. For the record, there are none. We're going to close the hearing. We're going to reserve decision. We'll keep the record open for the fire marshal report, and you're going to get back to us on that one item also?
Yes, sir.
Okay, and then we can move the application. All right.
Thank you all. Have a
Thanks,
good evening.
everybody. Thanks, guys. That ends the